Hey everybody and welcome to Chairman of the Board. Today I'm talking about Wingspan, which has really kind of been the hotness of 2019. It's been all the rage since the beginning of the year. I finally managed to get my hands on it and played it quite a few times now and would like to share my thoughts on the game. So Wingspan is a game where you are basically in charge of your own aviary. It's a game for 1 to 5 players. It takes around 40 to 70 minutes to play, and from my own experience that is about right. It's an engine building game where you're basically collecting these birds and trying to combo them together to get more and more kind of benefits and so on. I really think the theme of the game is kind of what's really made it kind of blow up, because it's so appealing, it's really charming. The box art and stuff just looks really nice, and I can see why it has such a wide appeal to non-gamers. So I think it's really kind of a good tool to kind of bridge that gap between players who, you know, not only like these games, but kind of a way to introduce people to the hobby, just because it does look so nice and it feels so nice, because the production of this game is absolutely out of this world. It's got really gorgeous artwork on it that's all kind of hand done for this game. Every card is individually drawn. I think there's like 200 cards, all unique birds. You've got this wonderful dice tower that's like a birdhouse. The card quality is really nice. The rule book is just really exquisitely printed. You get these lovely game trays. So yeah, production out of this world for this game. But let's talk about the game itself. So as I said, it's an engine building game. And basically those engines are going to be built off the birds you acquire, but also how many of those birds you acquire, because the more you kind of get, the bigger bonuses you get on a certain row, because your game board is divided into 3 rows. You've got your kind of forest, for your forestry, where you keep your forest birds, you've got your grassland, and you've got your kind of waterside birds or your river birds. And all of those are kind of assigned to a different action you can take, such as taking food, playing cards, or laying eggs. You've also got an additional space where you can play a new bird card. And I just love the way that the whole game is condensed down into those 4 actions. And that's all you're going to do is choose between one of those 4 things each round. I really like that, and I also really like the kind of the user interface of the own player boards, because they really do help you just understand how the game works, because everything you need to know is right in front of you. Because say I was on this forest row, which lets you acquire the food. You kind of not only activate all the cards there, but you also take the first spot that's not covered up by a card. And the more of those spots that get covered up, the kind of more or the bigger the rewards you're going to get. So it could be 1 food, and then 2 food, and then 2 food and trade in something, and so on. So you're going to get bigger multipliers that way, but also you're going to activate every bird from right to left. And they are all going to give you really unique benefits, such as getting more food, or maybe drawing new cards, or hunting for birds and stuff like that. And you can get these really cool, powerful kind of combinations as you go along. And knowing when and where to put them in that certain order is really important to do well in the game. That being said, there is quite a lot of dependence on luck of the draw and stuff like that when you're drawing these bird cards, because sometimes you're just left with what you're left with. And acquiring food to bring the birds out can be a bit of a slog at times. So you kind of really just kind of chundering along, trying to get that food to get your birds out, to get your engine going in the first place. But it does eventually kind of kick into place, and you will start reaping the rewards of your graft. And I do really like that. I also really like the round by round objectives, because the game is divided into 4 rounds, and each of those rounds has a different kind of group objective that everyone's trying to do, and the player who does the best gets the most points and stuff like that, such as having the most forest birds or having the most eggs on a certain type of nest and stuff like that. Really like that. Keeps a kind of nice competitiveness amongst it, so you don't just get so lost in your own kind of player board. And yeah, a really nice variety there as well, because you get, I think it's like 16 different tiles, and you know, there's loads of different options that way. So really do like that. Not only are you going to get points that way, you're going to get points for the actual birds you bring out, because they all have a unique, they all have a score for each individual bird you bring out. So the harder they are to get out, the more points you're going to get in return for them. You're going to get points for each egg you lay, which not only are useful for endgame points, but you need them to unlock further spots on your board. So there's a good bit of synergy there. And also you're going to get points for any kind of tucked birds you have. And these tucked birds are really cool, because it's kind of ties into the thematics quite nicely. say some of these birds, and I said all the birds are unique, they all are very kind of thematic powers. So if you were like a predator bird, like a peregrine falcon or something like that, or a bald eagle, I think is the biggest one. Basically, their kind of power is to basically draw the top card of the bird deck, and if it's beneath a certain size, then you get to tuck it under your card, and that's a point at the end of the game, almost like representing like the bird hunting for a smaller bird, which is really cool. Nice little thematic tie there. And some of these other ties are really good as well, such as like the cuckoo bird. They can lay birds in other people's nests. And you've got the birds that can live in all the different habitats. So they've done a really good job of trying to make it as thematic as possible, which I really, really appreciate. I mean, I'm not a big thematic guy, but it just works really, really nicely in this one. The different strategies you can take seem pretty well balanced. I mean, you know, if you're going to focus on getting all your birds out, then you're going to be neglecting kind of doing other things and so on. So yeah, I like that kind of which route you're going to go down. The laying the eggs route seems like a really powerful option, so I'm not sure if that's completely balanced, but we'll soon find out. Yeah, I just really like the kind of simplistic boiled down mechanisms in this one. It's very, very smooth. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best engine builder game out there. It's not like a Lorenzo or Magnifico, but the problem with that is, you know, casual players such as my girlfriend isn't going to go play Lorenzo with me, but she'll happily play Wingspan with me, which is why this game is going to stay on my shelf. It's got a real kind of niche, so aesthetically pleasing, as I said, very charming and just very inviting, and has a nice cozy feel to it. Play seems to go around very, very quickly. I mean, as I said, you're just taking one of those actions, so there's not much downtime. And on other players' turns, some of your birds might trigger as well. So, you know, you're kind of listening to what other players are doing in case it triggers one of your bird cards, which is very, very nice. Game takes about, as I said, about an hour to play on average, and maybe quicker than that at 2 players or so. But it just feels very nice. It doesn't outstay its welcome, and it just seems to fly by. Really, really like that. In terms of replayability as well, every bird in this is completely unique. Well, at least on the face of it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the powers are very similar and they're very small variations on the other one. But, you know, just the fact that you're getting to see all these different birds, all the different artwork, the different scoring criteria. Yeah, really, really like the kind of replayability and variation here. You get bonus cards as well, which is kind of a secret objective in the game. They're going to kind of dictate your strategies you're going to take in the game, which again is very, very nice. Component quality, and I said, and aesthetic, absolutely out as well. Just blown away with it, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And setup and teardown time as well, not an issue. Really not an issue at all. All you got to do is set out or shuffle the bird cards, put 3 on display, which are kind of obtainable at all times, give you a bit more kind of, you know, bit more kind of autonomy in what you're going to do in the game. Yeah, I really, really like the setup. Just had to shuffle the cards, deal a few cards to each other, deal some food out, pick who you want to start with and get going. I like the kind of restrictions you put under at time in terms of getting food and trying to strategically take certain foods which kind of benefit your engines and stuff like that. It's hard to explain, but you'll understand if you play the game. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really nice game. I really did enjoy it. As I said, going to be staying in my collection. I think it's going to hit the table quite a lot, just because it's so easygoing. It is a competitive game, but it doesn't feel aggressive. It doesn't feel overly competitive. It's just quite a soothing game, and as I said, so accessible, but still being, you know, enough to it to satisfy, you know, more kind of experienced gamers. So yeah, really, really like it. Is it the kind of, you know, cultural phenomenon that people seem to be thinking it is in 2019? Probably not. I think it's just a very solid, good game. You know, not the, you know, top 50 game which people are kind of voting it in Board Game Geek, but you know, I can see why it's done so well because of its mass appeal. So yeah, overall, really good game. Did enjoy this one a lot. So I hope you've enjoyed my review of Wingspan. If you have, please hit like and subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.